The Big East champions are here in Philadelphia for a stiff challenge. Match day 2 of conference play, and the home side is searching for a signature win. The Georgetown Hoyas and the Villanova Wildcats today on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. And hi friends, I'm Nick Montaigne. Welcome into Higgins Soccer Complex, a cool and rainy day for conference play. Georgetown has been on top of the world. They've been terrific in recent seasons, making 2 out of the last 3 college cups. And Dave Nolan has built a powerhouse, that's for sure. One good player after another. And for this season, the stalwart has been Amanda Carolyn. The 5th-year senior forward has been awesome as of late. 2 goals in the win over Marquette on Sunday. And she had 4 goals in the win at Villanova 2 years ago. Georgetown hasn't lost a conference match in 2 seasons. Chris Mclean for Villanova has quite the talent on his roster for this season, and one of his notables is the transfer Bryce McElroy. Spent last year at Tennessee, her first year at Villanova. They put her into the number 9 spot, and she's really taken off with a team best 5 goals. 2 straight shutout wins for Villanova, and Bryce McElroy has the game winner in each of those 2 victories. Lots of flair and excitement to her game, and Villanova will need her production yet again for today. Villanova has not beat the Georgetown Hoyas since 2012. Should be an exciting fixture today here at Villanova.
What is a Villanovan? In 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
.146 wins this decade for the Georgetown Hoyas, a number 11 ranking, and Dave Nolan, the 2-time National Coach of the Year with his staff, presents his lineup for today. A big change as Charlie Kern could not make the trip, and he has to alter his lineup as Jenna Mendte will enter the starting 11 at forward, and the excellent rookie midfielder in Julia Lease will step back to play defense. It's been a 3-5-2 formation because of necessity that fits his roster and shaped very well. It could be 4 in the back. We will have to see some changes. Paula Dramino-Watnick, normally the forward, will step into the midfield role in the number 10 spot, so a different looking lineup today for Coach Dave Nolan, and Chris Mclean has several notables out as we look at his chosen starting 11 for today. Kristen Vinciguerra had a late red card against Xavier on Sunday. She misses the match, and some notables like Chloe O'Neill and Nikki Molina. The goalkeeper Hensley Handcuff is out. Arguably 7 to 8 key impact players for Nova are out, but still lots of players like Sam Rosette, the Virginia transfer, who starts up top with Bryce McElroy. Daniela Nelson, a steady midfielder. There is Rebecca Gartner, as she is the deputy normally to Hensley Hancock. She has been terrific as of late, as she is now winning her 5th start of the season. 2 shutouts on the season for the former UCF and Baylor goalkeeper. A 50-year veteran out of Danbury, Connecticut, as the number 1 of choice for Coach Mclean. Ariel Scheckman graduated with 47 shutouts, the most for a Georgetown keeper, and now it's on to a rookie, Anna Leet, the 5'8" debutante out of Auckland, New Zealand. Played with the U17 and U20 World Cup side for Team New Zealand just last year, and decided to skip the Women's World Cup in France over the summer to get ready for college life. There is Chris McLean in his 3rd season and his staff. A great job he has done. Spent 2 years as the top assistant at Ohio State, taking the Buckeyes to the NCAA tournament there with the former goalkeeper Megan Geldernick at Ohio State and Daniel Klitnovich. And there's Dave Nolan on the right. Won the National Coach of the Year with his staff last season, won it in 2016. Those were the 2 College Cup seasons for Georgetown. They've been unstoppable. Lindsey Hokanson, Christy Meyer, and Naomi Myberger on his staff. His 21st year with the program, but 16 years for Dave Nolan has equaled 211 wins with just 83 losses. They have been the team of the decade in the Big East. The showpiece at Villanova. The Hoyas decorated in the old classic blue, and the white belongs to Villanova. And away we go here from Higgins Soccer Complex in a crucial matchup today as Villanova searches for their first win against Georgetown since 2012. Last decade, Villanova was the pride of the Big East, while Georgetown went from average to sublime. Can the Hoyas continue their dominance, or will the Wildcats return the glory? Today, it's the gold standard versus the old standard here at Higgins Soccer Complex. Cool and a bit of rain as we will see Georgetown in the constant look of a 3-5-2 this season. And here is Julia Lease, normally the number 10 player. She's not a number 10, but they've used her there. Today she plays the right back role, vacated by Charlie Kern, who is missing today. Excellent defender in Megan Nolly, the reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year. And great up top with Amanda Carolyn and Paula Germino-Watnick. Georgetown is strong, physical. They score tons of goals. They put up the shutouts. They've been incredible. 100 goals over the last 2 seasons. And this season, they have 26 goals. A quick turnaround for Georgetown. It's Paula Germino-Watnick who misses wide here on the turf at Villanova. The ball rolls smoothly, and a giveaway for Villanova as they have to be careful. 2 very good defenders in front of Gartner in Kristen Barber and Torie El Faro, as Paula Germino-Watnick and Amanda Carolyn have been sensational. 30 career goals for Amanda Carolyn, 72 career points, one of the best in program history, and you could say that about so many Hoyas. They graduated Kira Carusa, the Stanford transfer, who won a national title with the Cardinal in 2017 and helped lead Georgetown to the College Cup last year. And Caitlin Farrell was a first-team All-American last year, as last year she had 18 goals, a Georgetown record. And Caitlin Farrell had the big game-winning goal last year in the 1-0 victory for the Hoyas down in D.C. at Shaw Field. As Villanova had a goal called offsides, it was called back. Chris McLean told me in our chat this week he thought that goal should have counted, but instead it went to extra time, and it was Farrell. Offsides is the call. Looked very close as the Hoyas inserting Jenna Mendte into the lineup, a very good throw-in specialist at the top of the formation. The Wildcats with 5 wins. They've won 2 straight, and a shutout streak for Rebecca Gartner of 238 minutes. She's filling in once again for Hensley Hancock, the U20 USA goalkeeper and 6'4" specimen for Villanova. Georgetown, number 11 in the country, 7 wins, 5 straight victories with a 21-4 goal differential in that span as Kristen Barber, the captain and 4-year starter for Villanova, applies the foul on Amanda Carolyn and a free kick to Hoyas. Amanda Carolyn has been fantastic through the years. Has a goal in 4 straight games, 39th in the country in goals, had 1 goal and 2 assists against Ohio. You see the numbers through the years. 72 points is 7th best, and her 30 goals is 5th in Georgetown history. She's 20th amongst active women's players in the country in goals. Next up on the list is 31 by the great Ingrid Wells, who sits in 4th place. A chip of the ball by Carson Niselag, and a header is snatched by Rebecca Gartner. Excellent there for the Hoyas, as Jenna Royson pushing forward the wing back. And Villanova quickly up ahead with their front line of Bryce McEnroy, Allie Brie, the right winger, and Sam Rosette. Here is Danielle Nelson out of San Diego, as Sam Rosette is looking forward. There she is, number 7, the red-headed striker in the box for Villanova, who last season won 9 games. Their most wins since 11 victories in 2009. A terrific 1-0 shutout over Xavier on Sunday, as Villanova looking for their first winning season in 10 years. That's the last time they made the NCAA tournament. It's been a struggle this decade. So now Chris Mclean has been brought in his 3rd year, and he's brought so much talent onto the roster, even though several key players are out again, including Brianna Austin, their top goal scorer from last year. Here's Alison Brie, the speedy winger on the run, and it's cleaned up by Megan Nolly, the senior center half out of Herndon, Virginia. Megan Nolly is a force in the back, the Big East preseason defensive player of the year, on the low senior class nominee list, and the preseason Herman watch list. Jane Olcott, number 8, a steady freshman midfielder for Villanova, earning the start because of the notable omissions for Villanova, as close to 7 or 8 key players are out for the Wildcats, while Georgetown, as we said, out today is Charlie Kern, the fullback, and a big loss at the start of the season. Grace Nguyen, the Georgia kid from Atlanta, has missed the entire season. That's a big loss for Georgetown. So each roster is not quite at the full strength on paper. This really could have been even more of a promising fixture. But the nice thing, there are still a who's of names out on the pitch today. Terrific players here in the Philadelphia area. Connor Huggins is one of them, a captain, a lovely ball forward for Sam Rosette, and good coverage by Georgetown, and the Hoyas will have possession. Sam Rosette, 22 games at Virginia. Her first year as a grad transfer at Villanova, as Rosette has 2 goals and 2 assists. And Elite, the freshman, 3 shutouts and 20 saves this year for the excellent goalkeeper from New Zealand, a rugby and cross-country kid in her youth days. 4 saves against Virginia and 3 saves in the shutout win against Marquette, as Anna Leet is the Big East Freshman of the Week. Beat Canada for the bronze medal in the U17 World Cup in Uruguay in 2018. Beat Japan on penalty kicks in the quarters, but could not make it out of the group stage in the U20s last summer in France, in what was a tough group with the French and the Dutch advancing in Anna Leet's group, as there she is once again. Terrific addition for Dave Nolan and his staff to replace the terrific Ariel Scheckman, a first-team All-American and 2-time Big East Goalkeeper of the Year. Georgetown and Dave Nolan, they did not lose a regular season match last season. Some people throw that around and think it was no big deal. I've heard people talk about it very casually. It's hard to fathom how people don't take that more seriously. To repeat, Georgetown did not lose a regular season match last season. They went unbeaten into the College Cup. If the dominance wasn't already there for Georgetown, they proved it again last season. They only had 1 loss, and it was in the College Cup in the semis, a 1-0 loss in overtime to North Carolina on the 108th minute game winner by Julia Ashley on that great run up the middle. Ariel Scheckman tore her ACL in that match, and Lauren Gallagher, the backup keeper, came in, stopped a penalty. They've been without Lauren Gallagher. I asked Dave Nolan who would be the keeper in the spring. He thought Lauren Gallagher, but she had been out with injury, so it came down to Alyssa Navarrete and Anna Lee, and Navarrete has played this season, but they've gone with the New Zealand kid as the number 1. Watch out for Jenna Mendte on those throw-ins. We saw one just a moment ago for number 6 in the blue jersey. Here's Jenna Royson, a terrific player and wingback. The cross by Paula Dramino-Watnick, and it's swept away by Reagan Smith, the sophomore fullback out of Atlanta, who draws the start today because Kristen Vinciguerra, the fullback and UConn transfer, got a second yellow card in the closing minutes against Xavier. Last season in the Big East, Georgetown had their first unbeaten conference record, 8-0-1, while Villanova started hot but finished just 3-6 as they lost their last 5 matches of the season, all by a goal. They had some bad luck along the way. A red card on Hensley Handcuff, who missed the last 2 matches of the season, and Brianna Austin missed the last match on a yellow card suspension. And this year, those 2 players are out again, as Handcuff and Brianna Austin dealing with injury, and Chris Mclean telling me this week he hopes to have them back soon. Excellent job by Rebecca Gartner, as Georgetown will press so many teams. In this 3-5-2 look, the wing-backs will push up quite a bit for Dave Nolan. Sometimes they'll sit them back. A lot of times they will push forward. So that's Boo Jackson, and certainly we've seen Jenna Royson on the right-hand side. And those 2 know each other well. They're roommates, and they won a club national title with that powerhouse PDA club in New Jersey. Very interesting that those kids are the wingbacks, and they are roommates, but Coach Dave Nolan said they weren't that close when they were clubmates. They actually became better friends once they suited up in the gray and blue with Georgetown. Kellyanne Livingstone, a heck of a player, last year winning the Big East Tournament Most Outstanding Defensive Player, as Georgetown has won the last 3 Big East Tournament titles. They have been fantastic. 2 College Cups. Last year was the 17th time a Big East team made the championship weekend. And the number of goals Georgetown has scored this decade, it's an uncanny 487 goals since 2010 for Dave Nolan's Hoyas. To repeat, 487 goals for Georgetown this decade. 53 of them last year, and 1 good goal scorer after another, whether it be Grace Damaska or the Corbeau sisters or Ingrid Wells or Camille Trujillo. Just fabulous players for Dave Nolan through the years. Villanova made 6 NCAA tournaments last decade. They have not been back since. So the tables have turned. What will we see come 2020? Will Georgetown be able to put another great decade together? Or can Chris Mclean take the Wildcats back to the top of the table? A good surge by Villanova in key games this year, playing such a tough schedule. That's why in the second RPI that is out, Villanova has put together a fabulous mark. There are 7 Big East teams in the top 100. Georgetown is number 40 to lead the pack. Creighton playing their toughest schedule ever, 42, and Nova is 48, plus Butler's 57. This is the toughest group of games, non-conference-wise, that the conference has ever played, in my estimation, from top to bottom. Everybody is challenging each other. That's why the RPI numbers are so great for the conference. This is going to be a fun season. I think one match after another will be unpredictable. Keep your betting money to yourself, certainly. Paula Dramino-Watnick, a crafty player, fun to watch, fantastic, lots of speed, unpredictability. Look at her move and dance inside the area. Dramino-Watnick, a special player sitting in the number 10 role today. 4 goals and 6 assists this season. She is magnetic to watch on the Herman watch list. All Big East preseason team. All Big East first team pick last year. Had 4 goals in the NCAA tournament, including 2 in the win over Duke and 2 last year against Creighton. Rebecca Gartner, career high 9 saves in the tie at Princeton. And Georgetown had quite the tussle with the Tigers. Took quite a bit to get the job done. Ultimately, it worked out. A 4-3 overtime win over the Princeton Tigers for Georgetown. As Villanova with Allie Breed from the wing, as the Wildcats looking for their big signature victory, as it's been tough with just one win over Georgetown this decade. Sam Rosette holding up the ball very well, and the twisting and turning ball there was for Alison Brie, one of many Wildcats from the Sunrise Sting program in the Miami area. There's Jane Olcott out of Bethesda SC, a terrific club down in the Maryland area. And Torie El Faro also out of Sunrise Sting. There's Kristen Barber out of Colorado Storm. And Reagan Smith out of Atlanta. And eventually played by Kellyanne Livingstone, a terrific defender for Dave Nolan. Lots of Barcelona and Liverpool fans for Georgetown, so I'm sure they're very happy this week with the Champions League results. Georgetown picked to win the Big East. Butler picked second, while Villanova was picked sixth. And the Hoyas defending quite well as usual. Good job by their wingbacks this season. Boo Jackson and Jenna Royson have been delightful to watch on those flanks, as they really make this system go quite a bit. And of course, those two notables up top with Jermina Watnick and Amanda Carolyn. Three in the back seems to be a trend in men's and women's collegiate soccer. You're seeing it all over Europe, and now it's come to the States, of course, in the professional and now the college side. Excellent move by Jenna Royson. Chris Mclean said she might be the best player for Georgetown with her maneuverability, and you saw it there for number 3 in blue, the sophomore from Toms River, New Jersey. Excellent move by Alison Brie, crafty in her own dimension. A nice ball for Jane Olcott, as the rain has been steady here in the Philly suburban area this afternoon. Away by Jenna Royson, aiming for Amanda Carolyn. And a terrific slide tackle by the holding midfielder, number 29, Shea Safart out of New Jersey, and kept alive by the Hoyas, who have outscored their opposition 26-10. And a sumptuous header by Kristen Barber on the clearance, but maintained here by Boo Jackson and the Hoyas. A tango there at the 18. Another collision inside the box. A challenge from the Hoyas. There is Sarah Trissel. Coach Nolan calling her one of the steadiest players he has. Really makes the midfield work with Carson Nizelek as two of the key central midfielders for Georgetown. A terrific move by Boo Jackson, and there was Kristen Barber to take the contact. This rivalry means so much on the basketball court as the rain's coming down here at Higgins Soccer Complex. I'm an Italian-American like Rolly Massimino, and earlier I had the towel over my shoulder like John Thompson, to quote the basketball rivalry from back in the day. And of course the 1985 memories for both of these fan bases, I'm sure, ringing true as always. Georgetown possessing in the midfield. Another Big East win it was on Sunday. 11-0-2 since 2017 against the Big East in the regular season. A 13-match unbeaten streak. Their last loss against the conference was a 1-0 setback at Providence in 2017. Their loss against NC State at home ended a 22-match regular season unbeaten streak. And it also ended the Hoyas' 21-match home unbeaten streak, as the Hoyas don't lose at home very often, and they have not lost at home against a Big East team, playoffs or otherwise, since 2016 against DePaul. Just quality, and Villanova will make a change. And into the match is Shannon Casey for Villanova, as Chris Mclean looking for his subs to help out, because 6 or 7 of his key players are out today with a number of issues. A few injuries for Villanova. A lot of their players are playing more minutes than ever. So he said some of our players have been tired, and the key is a little bit of rest, a good recovery. As Sam Rosette with a tidy ball for Jane Olcott, and plenty of defending and easy there for Kelly and Livingstone. Terrific player out of Matchfit ECNL. Played there with Devin Liss and Casey Richards. Her dad played soccer at William & Mary. And Villanova taking possession with Shannon Casey. Excellent tackle by the Hoyas and Sarah Trissel out of San Diego, just like Daniela Nelson for Villanova. And Georgetown wins it back with Carson Nizelek. And Shannon Casey helps win possession, as does Shay Seyfart. And Daniela Nelson, the holding midfielder. Connor Huggins, the captain out of Michigan. Paula Germino-Watnick putting pressure on Villanova, as is Jenna Royson and Sarah Trissel. As Connor Huggins with a foul. The official blowing his whistle. Today it's Kalen Radisov with Josh Encarnacion and David Berkowitz. And Yuri Siskin is the alternate official for today. Strength of schedule has been good for both sides. Villanova with 51 as their mark, and Georgetown 77. All 5 matches today are on the Big East Digital Network, on Caffeine TV, and the Big East YouTube channel. Both teams have done well against the big dogs this year, as Villanova has a 3-3-1 mark against the top 105 RPI, while Georgetown with 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie against the top 105 teams in the latest RPI. Off the free kick, Georgetown maintaining possession with Kellyanne Livingstone from the left-hand side, and misses the target. Well, fans, if you don't know a whole lot about Hofstra lacrosse, I've been able to cover that great sport for years. The Big East Student Athlete Advisory Committee has partnered with the great Headstrong Foundation to raise funds and awareness. The Headstrong Foundation deals with the college lacrosse landscape and lacrosse in general. Paula Germino-Watnick on the move for the Hoyas. A corner kick to Georgetown. It's founded by former Hofstra lacrosse student athlete Nick Colalori. The Headstrong Foundation offers financial, residential, and emotional support to families affected by cancer. Colalori was diagnosed with large B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and passed away in 2006. To learn more about the Headstrong Foundation and donate, visit bigeast.com/headstrong. And the number 27 for Hofstra lacrosse every year goes to a player that embodies the spirit of Nick Colalori, a Philadelphia native. His family does a great job with that foundation. As Georgetown off the corner, and Villanova dodges a bullet there. One of my favorites about that Headstrong Foundation, as you see the corner kick from the Hoyas with Boo Jackson, and a chance there for Megan Nolly in the box, is a lot of families dealing with loved ones dealing with cancer. The Colalori family has set up those quote-unquote halfway houses for people that need to travel from distance to be with their loved ones, a place to sleep and eat and have free housing when you're visiting a family member in the hospital. Sometimes families have to travel around from state to state to find a specialist. It's great to see what the Headstrong Foundation and the entire Colalori family here in Philadelphia have done for over 10 years. It's one of my favorite foundations that deals, of course, with our sports landscape in the Big East and college sports. Possession very good for Georgetown so far. Chris Mclean's Wildcats win the possession because of the way they knock the ball around, a possession-oriented scheme that switches the play from different flank to another. But Georgetown's so dominant and so physical, they will win possession. If anything, it's been a little bit of 50-50 here today. Villanova leads the series 12-10 with 3 draws, but the Hoyas have won 4 in a row. But the bigger number is they've won 9 of the last 11. And Georgetown has won 5 of the last 6 meetings here at Villanova. A 1-0 win for Villanova in 2012 is the only showing this decade. As under Dave Nolan, it's been just unstoppable. He is 9-3-3 against Villanova with a 38-11 goal differential. That's the more telling point when Georgetown has played Villanova under Dave Nolan. The Wildcats used to be the top cat. Now Georgetown is proven to be the big dog. A collision there on the tackle between Sarah Trissel and Bryce McEnroy. Inside the area, Jenna Royson and those wingbacks really pushing forward. Even Kellyanne Livingstone has gotten up. Georgetown presses teams. And Villanova will have to continue to have players ready to try and clear the ball more efficiently. You see the wizardry of Paula Germino-Watnick, who spent time over the summer with the reserves of the Washington Spirit, the parents of surgeons, and shadowed a doctor over the summer as well. A terrific student athlete, and that's why Paula Germino-Watnick is on the Lowe's senior class nominee list. One of my favorite awards, which goes to a player who does it in the classroom, but also does it on the playing field. A foul is called, and a free kick has been awarded to Georgetown. Since 2008, the Hoyas are 9-1-1 versus Villanova, and we mentioned the goal differential. This decade, it's 29-6 in favor of the Hoyas. Villanova had double-digit wins each year from 2000 to 2009, 6 NCAA tournaments, but this decade, it's been a struggle. Can Chris Mclean get them turned around? A win today would speak volumes, but Georgetown, deadly offset pieces, and in the run of play, and they just missed there inside the area. A delicious ball for Megan Nally, and the Hoyas come up just short. Chris Mclean will offer his second substitute. Terrific ball by Carson Nizelek, and just missing there. Possibly the run from Kellyanne Livingstone. Villanova will enter Torie Bellecourt into the match, the sophomore from Livingston, New Jersey, number 2 in the white jersey. Defended well by Georgetown, and Sarah Trissel controlling in the midfield. A good read by Shea Seyfarth, number 29. Last year a tight game, and then Caitlin Farrell, she beat everybody. 8 game winners last year for Caitlin Farrell. 2 years ago, it was close early, but then Amanda Carolyn struck for 4 goals. 3 were in the first half. 3 goals in 3 minutes. It was 2 goals in the 34th minute, 33 seconds apart, and then 1 in the 37th minute. So here we are right again. This was the time 2 years ago when Amanda Carolyn struck for gold. It was one after another, as both she and Caitlin Farrell playing up top. Just deadly. It's one good duo after another for Coach Dave Nolan, whether it was Daphne Corbose and Ingrid Wells, or Camille Trujillo with Ingrid Wells, or Grace Damaska with Rachel Corbose. It's just fabulous players, and the All-Americans year after year, 9 straight years with an All-American, essentially this decade, pure dominance from Georgetown. In 2016, Coach Nolan called it a bit of a Cinderella run last year as the number 1 overall seed. He said we had a target on our back, and he felt like there was possibly that pressure from the public for Georgetown as the number 1 seed to make the College Cup, and they did just that. A bit of a tricky opening match in the NCAAs last year against Central Connecticut State, who led 1-0 over Georgetown in the 68th minute, but Coach Nolan saying there was a tough wind, and they didn't get the win till the second half, and usually the top teams can wear down the underdog in the final minutes, and that's what Georgetown did. And then big wins over Baylor, Washington State, and Duke to reach the College Cup. Overall, 21 wins, a school record last year, as Georgetown won 14 straight matches into the College Cup last year with a 24-match unbeaten streak. They hit number 2 in the polls. No team scored more than 1 goal versus Georgetown last year, and 53 goals and 15 shutouts. Just another run-of-the-mill season for the Hoyas. Just fantastic. Beat Xavier in the Big East semis and took down Butler in the final thanks to Caitlin Farrell, who had that early game winner in the 3rd minute, and Georgetown winning their 3rd straight Big East tournament title last season. They have not allowed a goal in over 305 minutes, while Rebecca Gartner has not allowed a goal for Villanova in over 250 minutes. Both defenses are rounding into form, and both teams are doing it without key notable players. Charlie Kern and Grace Nguyen are out for Georgetown, and Villanova without Hensley Handcuff, Brianna Austin, and Chloe O'Neal. Some would say they're 3 best players. And Kristen Vinciguerra. The fullback is out on a red card for today. There's Reagan Smith, 33, taking her place. Excellent tackle for the sophomore from Atlanta. Here is Bryce McElroy. Had the game winner against Xavier on Sunday. What a job Nate Lee has done with Xavier, a physical group and a star player in Sam Dewey. But Rebecca Gartner stifled Dewey several times. Excellent ball for Jane Olcott and Bryce McElroy as Livingstone and Megan Nally is there to defend. If Megan Nally doesn't win Big East Defensive Player of the Year, I think many would be surprised. She's that sort of impact player. I believe a lot of teams and some of Georgetown's teams wear the Jumpman Nike Jordan specific gear, and Megan Nally wears that number 23. I think that's an appropriate number for the terrific defender for Dave Nolan. Emily Menges playing with Portland Thorns. Liz Wenger playing professionally. Top defenders. We talk about the offense, but the defense has been sublime for Georgetown through the years. Big-time defenders, and that's how Villanova got it done last decade. All-Americans like Michelle Beal, all-conference players like Kelly Egan and Laura Koch. Julia Lease, very talented player, has been in the number 10 role. Dave Nolan said that's not her position. Today she's playing a fullback. That's not her position either, he says. She's more of a 6 or number 8. And we could see her in that spot come next season. There's Dave Nolan and a big cheer from the Georgetown crowd. The local kid comes in, Gia Vicari. You see the 5-game winning streak and 21-4 goal differential in that streak, including a 7-0 thrashing over Ohio. So there's Gia Vicari, who played her club ball with Penn Fusion with Bryce McElroy. She attended the Baldwin School, which you could walk to right from Villanova's campus here in the Philly suburbs. There's Gia Vicari, number 4, very talented player. And the fans with a huge roar of improvement with Dave Nolan putting her into the match. I was talking to Dave Nolan about Gia Vicari before the match today. He said lots of promise for her. And here from the 18, Jenna Royson. And now Gia Vicari into the corner as Reagan Smith there to mark her, but offsides for the Hoyas. The 2-time Big East regular season champ. Last year it was the 5th time a Big East team won both titles in the same year. And for Georgetown doing it again and again, that's the uncanny part of it all. The quality year after year just keeps getting better and better. 54 clean sheets since 2016, plus all of the goals they've scored, thanks to Caitlin Farrell and Grace Damaska and the Corbeau sisters. Daphne Corbeau setting the records for points and goals. Ingrid Wells, their all-time assist leader. Here is Torie El Faro, a physical, strong specimen for Coach Chris Mclean as the center half role. And Kristen Barber, the terrific defender. The physical battles that Georgetown wins year after year. It's so impressive. Taylor Pack, a terrific holding midfielder for many years. And Liz Wenger, 2 of the notables that were great to watch. Jane Olcott will trade spots with Sierra Tarabasso as Chris Mclean has found a number of transfers, whether it be Bryce McElroy or Sam Rosette. There is Tarabasso, who started at Rutgers. Kristen Vinciguerra from UConn. A lot of those coaching changes, and you'll get kids that want to find a new school. Glenn Crooks deciding to move on, and Len Santiris leaving UConn, as the Huskies will rejoin the Big East next season, which I think will be very splendid for men's and women's Big East soccer, as each team will get true 5 home and road conference games each season going forward, rather than the current system of one year getting more home than road games in a conference slate. Excellent possession by Georgetown, aiming for Jenna Royson, the wingback. The rain still falling here at Higgins Soccer Complex. A very comfy 60-degree day, but a little bit wet for the fans. I'm sure the players are having fun. Bryce McElroy looking to turn there against Julia Lease, and the Tennessee transfer draws the foul for Villanova. 3 straight games with a goal for Bryce McElroy. Had 2 goals at Temple. 7th in the Big East in points with 11. And has been terrific. Ranked 5th in the Big East in goals with 5. 2 big-time players there. Julia Lease, so physical, so strong. And Bryce McElroy had the big game winner against Xavier. As Kristen Barber will take the free kick. Big boot for the captain. In for McElroy, and could not touch it properly into the waiting hands of Anna Leet. You know you had a busy year when you're Anna Leet, when you play in the U17 World Cup, the U20 World Cup, and then she had to tell Tom Sermani no thanks for the Women's World Cup in France, as she needed a break. I think I would too if I was playing in those major tournaments. 3 in a calendar year is quite a lot to ask for a young kid, or any player for that matter. Excellent goalkeepers, Emma Newens many years ago, and then Ariel Scheckman, the UCLA transfer, coming in to break the Georgetown career shutout record. 2 college cups for Georgetown in the last 3 seasons. 1 home playoff game after another at Shaw Field, and they just dominate there. That's why the coaches voted in the offseason to have the Big East tournament return to a neutral field, as it will be at Morrison Stadium in Omaha, hosted by Creighton this November. For Villanova, making it back to the Big East tournament would be key. And just to get into the top 4, where you can host a home quarterfinal game, I think that would be the goal for Villanova, just to make that stride back into the playoffs and to have a home game before heading out to the Midwest. And obviously Georgetown looking at that bye into the semis as a number 1 or 2 seed. It's pretty much where they've been every season, it seems. Under 10 minutes remaining here in the opening half, along with our great Big East Digital Network crew. I'm Nick Montagna here for the commentary. A rainy day at Higgins Soccer Complex in the Philadelphia area. All 5 matches today on the Big East Digital Network. Creighton is at Xavier tonight. Seton Hall is at St. John's, while Providence will play at Marquette tonight. And the other afternoon fixture features Butler at DePaul, as the Bulldogs are unbeaten over their last 3. And Katie Soderstrom has been great for Butler, and Kristen Booz has been terrific for DePaul. Creighton at Xavier features the top 2 scorers in the Big East. Sam Dewey has 21 points, and Skyler Hinrich, the rookie for Ross Pauley at Creighton, has 18 points. Georgetown is on the move once again, as Kristen Barber will defend against Gia Vicari, the local kid, moving, and will earn the Hoyas a corner kick. Excellent work by Gia Vicari. When you get to play in front of your hometown fans, you bring a little bit extra juice. And that's what we see there. It went off of Torie El Faro. You can see what Georgetown has done this season when scoring first. And it's saved by Rebecca Gartner. And a foul is called as one of the Wildcats going down. And the official will stop the clock. Contact there as Bryce McElroy went to ground. As the official making sure that she is okay, as the athletic trainer coming over. As the corner kick by Paula Dramino-Watnick. A slight bobble. A wet ball can be tricky on a day like today for a goalkeeper. So set pieces and the first and second catch for a goalkeeper will be key, as rebounds, putbacks could be a factor for today's match. There's Mikayla Stadler, the freshman who will enter for Villanova because of the players that Villanova has been without in recent weeks. Coach Mclean has started to play some freshmen he didn't anticipate that would see the field. Mikayla Stadler is one of them, he said, a talented kid out of Chicago. Away by Villanova. Sierra Tarabasso deals with Sarah Trissel. And now Mikayla Stadler, a very athletic player, will make the run. But Megan Nally there to defend. If I'm a coach and I have a player like Megan Nally, I feel very comfortable because she gets the job done every single match. There's Connor Huggins. Very strong left back for Villanova. And the ball goes out of play. Dave Nolan has substitutes ready as well. And they will enter the match momentarily. Mikayla Stadler. Excellent work by the Hoyas, but maintained by Connor Huggins. You see Julia Lees, number 25 back there. She's the right back for today because Charlie Kern, the kid out of Ohio, is not with the team today. As Coach Nolan telling me before the match, had to move players around in the formation. Bryce McElroy looking to re-enter for Villanova in the final 6:19 as they call a corner kick for Villanova, which will be their first of the match. A 6-2 shots advantage for Georgetown. Kristen Barber for Villanova, a twisting ball, aiming for Shannon Casey. But Julia Lees, Megan Nally have it well marked. The new Hoyas march on. Jenna Royson, Amanda Carolyn will exit, as will Boo Jackson. As Coach Nolan looking to get substitutes into the match. He said, watch out for Caitlin Moon, number 22, a sophomore. She'll play the right wing back in place of Jenna Royson. Carson Nizelak and Sarah Trissel play a lot of minutes. Sophie Fox enters the game as a forward. She'll play up top with Paula Dramino-Watnick, who's playing the number 10 role today. As Gia Vicari will help pressure the ball. This is what Georgetown does so well. Possession game for Villanova has to be key to find those open channels to avoid the pressure. It means switching up the point of attack and finding those open seams against the pressure that Georgetown puts on you with their forwards and those terrific wingbacks. 4 minutes plus remaining in the opening half. Julia Lees heading the ball. Daniela Nelson looking for a 1-2 with Bryce McElroy to Tarabasso, but unsuccessful. And Villanova comes over to tackle very aggressively. Mikayla Stadler, a terrific play. Casey Richards has come on, the senior. She'll play the wing spot for Georgetown. Very talented kid through the years, former New Jersey Player of the Year out of Allendale. Megan Nally will trade here with Julia Lees. Connor Huggins tackles it well. Shea Safart dealing with Paula Dramino-Watnick, who gets it from Gia Vicari. And a terrific ball just sent too high by Casey Richards. Very good job there. You see Paula Dramino-Watnick, a creative player who has 6 assists on the season, can score goals and can set up her teammates. And they'll say possession will go to Georgetown. And it will be a corner kick for the Hoyas. And Paula Germino-Watnick will get the duty as well. Ranks 5th in the Big East in points with 14. A tremendous player to watch. Has a point in 6 games this season. Her 14 assists are 11th best in school history. As it in-swings there, hitting Shea Safart. Knocked down by Kristen Barber and hit just over the bar there by the Hoyas as an opportunity. And the Hoyas fall short. Sophie Fox coming on as a substitute. Megan Nally just missing on that opportunity. You see the differential in shots. The shutout streak continuing for both teams. Close to 340 minutes for Georgetown. And for Villanova, it's approaching 300 minutes for Rebecca Gartner. Very impressive what Villanova continues to do without some of their best players. And Georgetown without a few notables, as we said. You have to hand it to both coaches. The quality is there. The organization and the chemistry really starts to build this time of year. Bryce McEnroy. If anything, Villanova needed just a little bit more talent, and that's what Chris Mclean has done to be able to play with a team like Georgetown, who has dominated Villanova for years. Chris Mclean has the talent. Even the lineup he has today, very solid. Here's Shannon Casey, who twists the ball just wide. And the final minute of the opening half. Villanova has not beat Georgetown since 2012. It came here on West Campus at Villanova University. Coming up at halftime, we'll have a fall sports update in our Big East Digital Network studios with John Fanta and Megan Caffrey, as they will provide some news and notes about the conference. All the fall sports now into conference play. 18 seconds remaining. It's been a very fun first half to watch so far. More of the possession and opportunities for Georgetown. Good, solid tackling and physical play by Georgetown. They don't give you many opportunities. And the final seconds, it will be a scoreless draw as we hear our halftime horn. Villanova does lead the all-time series, but Georgetown has won most of the matches against Villanova. They've won 9 of the last 11 against Villanova. A nice showing by the home side in the first half. It's 0-0 between Villanova and Georgetown on the Big East Digital Network.
What is a Villanovan in 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
This was the score line at halftime last year at Shaw Field. Eventually, Georgetown won it in overtime. Right now, we have our fall sports update in our Big East Digital Network studios with John Fanta and Megan Caffrey. Enjoy, everyone.
Welcome into the Big East Fall Sports Update. I'm Megan Caffrey, joined alongside John Fanta. Women's soccer wrapped up their first weekend of conference play, and so we're officially in full swing of fall sports conference play.
Several clean sheets, and the teams that were picked near the top of the conference poll lived up to their billing. Georgetown handling business, Butler going on the road and winning 3-0. I'm curious to see those two teams. They're so strong defensively, who's going to be able to score on them? It's going to be fascinating to see throughout league play.
You were also on the call for the Villanova game. What stood out to you in that game?
This was a game that Xavier dictated in the first half. Musketeers came out, they outshot Villanova 5-1, and they play a 3-5-2 system, which is different. It creates a wrinkle in the league, and Nate Lee's done a really nice job there, already 7 wins on the season. But Villanova can get you quickly on the counterattack, and Bryce McEnroy struck. Tennessee transfer, so you think about she comes over from the SEC, and she's given Villanova's offense a boost, leading the team with 5 goals on the year. And for Xavier on the other side, Megan, they have a crucial weekend. Home to Creighton, home to Seton Hall. You have got to have short memory in this conference.
Now, John, you mentioned Butler's defense a little bit before, but what stood out to me this weekend was their offense. They had a 3-0 win over Seton Hall, and an interesting stat to me that stands out is in the conference, they're just behind Georgetown in goals per game that they're averaging. Georgetown is averaging just over 2.5, and Butler's right behind them, just over 2 goals per game. So I think their offensive power is really coming into play right now.
They have 5 players with 2 or more goals this season. So Butler has that versatility offensively, and Anya Savage leads them. That's why they've been the bridesmaid to Georgetown. We'll see if there's another team. Now, I'm curious to see the Hoyas this weekend. They are at Villanova, against a Villanova team that has some momentum, and then they're at Providence. Friars will make you work for what you get offensively.
John, and another team who had a big start to conference play were the Creighton Blue Jays. They beat DePaul 2-0 for their first time ever.
This Creighton team put it all together in non-conference play, but you still were asking, could they do it in Big East play? Because they've never qualified for the Big East tournament. They have a star freshman in Skyler Hinrich who has delivered. You think about her, and you think about the Big East goalkeeper of the week in Lauren Sullivan. Right now, the Jays are a really formidable team that is right in the thick of things in the Big East.
And I actually talked to Skyler a little bit earlier this week to get her thoughts on her first season in Big East play. We now welcome into the Big East Fall Sports Update, Creighton freshman forward Skyler Hinrich. Skyler, your team opened up conference play with a 2-0 win over DePaul. How did that set up your team to succeed?
Well, we're very excited. You know, we just played 2 games in Florida, and coming back and being able to win back on the home turf was really exciting, and it just pushes us forward to now go into Xavier and want to do even better.
What have the upperclassmen on your team prepared you for in now you're starting to get in the thick of conference play?
They just tell you to like calm down and like relax, because obviously there's more pressure because we have to win a certain amount of games, but they said just calm down and like play your game, and like we've been doing great all season, so might as well just keep it going.
Speaking of playing your game, Skyler, you lead your team with 8 goals on the season so far. You're a freshman. How have you been able to come in at this level and succeed right away?
It's kind of crazy. Like I just wanted to come in and play, get minutes, and then being able to start was extremely like exciting for me. And then my team just kept uplifting me, like, you can keep going, like keep scoring, like we're gonna keep getting you the ball. So it's just kind of crazy being able to come in and accomplish 8 goals so far.
What team has really kind of taken you under her wing?
I'd say a senior forward, Cassie Legban. We came from like similar high schools, so like I knew her coming in, so I always just lean on her when like I have questions or anything.
And Skyler, I also heard a little bit of something that you may have come into the program with. Is there a little what is it? Let's hear the story behind this. First, you got to show everybody. That's a Jays.
Yes. I wanted to get it when I committed a month into my sophomore year of high school, but my parents obviously said no, that I can't get it. I'm not even 18 yet. So then I came in and I was like, you know, I'm never leaving here, so I might as well just go for it and get a tattoo.
Do we think that's a little bit of a good luck charm you've got?
I hope so. Hopefully when we win, we all get it.
How are you hoping to keep the momentum going after your 1-0 start to the conference season?
I think going into it with a win is going to help us a lot, because we've proven that we can win on home turf, and it'll be extremely like important to make sure we keep it going even when we're traveling, and playing 2 games both on the road in the same week will be tough. But if we can come out with a win, that would be awesome.
How do things change for you and your team when you are on these road swings? What's the preparation like?
We try to keep like the same preparation every single time, just to keep it all the same, like not switch it up. Like we always do film, we always do scouting, we keep the same routine and just always being together. Like we're together for like 5 days like straight. Like it's just we keep it light and keep it fun. Like still, like we go and do things like out of soccer, like we'll go and like visit some places, like we went to the beach in Florida, so like just trying to keep it like as lighthearted and then serious when it needs to be.
Best of luck, and thank you so much for joining me, Skyler.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, John, Big East men's soccer is into week 2 of conference play for them. 3 teams are left at 2-0. Who is standing out to you right now?
St. John's and Marquette, and they're going to square off on Friday night at Valley Fields in a big one. The Johnnies, to go into conference play and start out 2-0, that's a validation that they are for real and that they are deserving of the top 15 ranking. They had the win over NC State, but we didn't get a great sampling beyond that in their non-conference slate. They've proven themselves. So now I'm interested to see Skage Simonson, Tani Olawashe, that star-studded attack go up against Marquette's Jackson Wayman. The redshirt freshman keeper is going to get tested on Friday night, but a big opportunity for the Golden Eagles. They went 2 Xavier and 1. That's a tough place to win. I'm shocked that Xavier's 0-2 in this league. So I'm really paying attention to Marquette hosting St. John's. Opportunity knocks for the Golden Eagles because 3 of their next 4 in conference play after this game Friday night will be on the road. You have got to treasure your home games. I think for Marquette that's important, and I think for Seton Hall it's really important against Creighton on Friday night. That's an opportunity. If the Pirates want to make a move in this league, they have got to try to take advantage at home. Now,
John, how about Georgetown? They're 5th in the country right now. They've only given up 5 goals all season. And speaking of freshmen, their freshman goalkeeper, Thomas Romero, has 4 wins on the season. He's only let 2 goals get by him.
I watched Romero play in the USL over the summer. So he was already getting some big-time spotlights. And now this kid's come in as a freshman and just delivered in the biggest of ways. Georgetown has a lethal attack. They now have a freshman keeper who's getting it done. They are a legitimate College Cup contender, and I think the reigning conference tournament champions deserve that idea that everybody's got to pursue them, because until they let go of that trophy, it's Georgetown at the top of this league.
John, let's now shift over to volleyball on the BEDN this week. DePaul heads to Butler. We also have Creighton taking on St. John's. There's a lot of critical matchups that are coming up for squads.
That Creighton-St. John's one is the one that stands out in Queens, because out of the Big East road test for the Blue Jays next to Marquette, I would put St. John's right there. The Red Storm were able to pull off a win over Oregon in non-conference play, and they look like a team that can be in the conference tournament in Milwaukee Thanksgiving weekend. So for this St. John's team, they could give Creighton some challenges. It'll be an intriguing one to watch on ESPN3 this weekend.
And there are so many games for you to tune into this weekend on the Big East Digital Network. Volleyball, men's soccer, women's soccer, you're not going to want to miss it. Thank you so much for tuning in with us for the second half of your game.
What is a Villanovan? In 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
A terrific season so far for the Big East. They've played great competition, hence the wonderful RPI numbers, and the individual performances have been outstanding. This might be the best we've ever seen the conference from top to bottom. As our players of the week here in the Big East, and Amanda Carolyn had the 2 goals against Marquette. Her 7 goals ranked 3rd best in the Big East. 9 times she's won an individual award in her career. And Amanda Kowalski, the Chicago kid for Butler, who have 2 shutouts in a row. She had an assist in the win at Seton Hall over the weekend. There is Anna Leet for Georgetown, the Big East Freshman of the Week.
Global University, we are at the heart of where lives are enriched. We provide a transformative education that goes far beyond the classroom. We aspire to do more. And for nearly 150 years, the St. John's story has been the story of New York City. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
What is a Villanovan in 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
Georgetown 0, Villanova 0 here to start the second half, as we didn't see many great moments in the first half on this mucky afternoon, but certainly there were good individual plays in our stats. We have not had many shots in general. There were 8 for Georgetown and 3 shots for Villanova. Just 1 shot on the target apiece in the first half of play. And the possession has been rather balanced, but to me the physical nature of Georgetown's play has yielded Villanova's possession scheme. Villanova will have to be more creative, and for Georgetown it's certainly about finding those 2 big players up top, and eventually their speed and craftiness can break through. Can they penetrate the back line? Last year a lot with Kira Carusa and Caitlin Farrell. It was a lot of one-touching. This year some crafty play by Carolyn and Jermino Watnick have led to a lot of goals. Plus in their new formation, a 3-5-2, the wingbacks giving them service. Should be very interesting to see what Georgetown does in the second half. And the Hoyas just tremendous with their offense year after year. They have 26 goals, one of the top marks in the country. You see the points per game averages are fantastic. They dominate in corner kicks so many seasons. You look at the national rankings each year, the set pieces and corners for Georgetown, it's just off the charts good. And for Villanova, they have been very good as of late. 2 straight shutouts. Right now, trying to find a way to get their 3rd straight shutout win, something they have not done since 2008 when they had 4 in a row. But shutting out Georgetown, very tough to do, no doubt about that, as the Hoyas have won 9 out of the last 11 against Villanova. There was a tie 1-1 at Georgetown in 2014. Villanova last blanked Georgetown in 2012. That was the 1-0 win for Villanova right here at home. That was the last time Villanova won in this fixture. Paula Jermino Watnick has been electric as per usual. The All-Big East first teamer from a season ago when she had 22 points. Another standout season for her this year with 4 goals and 6 assists, 16 career goals. And Bryce McEnroy, back-to-back game-winning goals for Villanova in their last 2 victories, both shutouts. Can she do it a 3rd time? Nick Montaigne here for the commentary on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi. Away we go for half number 2 on this rainy day from Higgins Soccer Complex in front of a terrific crowd here on the main line in Philadelphia. Villanova continuing to use a 4-3-3 for Chris Mclean in his 3rd year, and Dave Nolan, the 2-time National Coach of the Year, with his new 3-5-2 look for this season. No Charlie Kern, the fullback who missed the trip today, so the rookie Julia Lees from the midfield spot to the fullback role for today. A different look for 25, but here is a notable in Jenna Royson, the wingback so athletic and crafty, finding Amanda Carolyn. An open look, and Georgetown strikes for gold to start the second half as Jenna Mendte with a money delivery for the Big East champions. Complete joy for Jenna as the New York native with a nifty tally there. And the Hoyas offense strikes immediately to start the second half. The quality is there year after year for Georgetown. That's 488 goals this decade, and Jenna Mendte with a clean strike of the ball for her first score of the season. The fourth career goal for Jenna Mendte, and the starting spot for her in the lineup today, yielding dividends for Dave Nolan and the Hoyas. A tremendous start to the second half for the visitors, and if anything, they know how to get it done year after year. They've come from behind in big games. They've been able to get out on the right front foot so many times in the Dave Nolan era. They can win high-scoring games. They can win low-scoring matches. They've been the standard of women's college football, many could argue. Jane Olcott, the crafty young midfielder out of Maryland. Can Villanova find an answer? The Wildcats with 11 goals this season. Their shutout streak comes to an end. It had been close to 300 minutes. Georgetown is 7-1 when scoring the first goal this season, as the Hoyas looking to win their sixth straight match. That's a 22-4 goals differential now in their last 6 matches, and they're looking for their fourth straight shutout victory. Just one true road win this year for Georgetown, so a tough test on a Thursday at Villanova. And Dave Nolan telling me in our chat this week, he says we have a target on our back every single season, and a team like Villanova he has to be worried about, because he says Chris Mclean's team plays a terrific style of technical football, and his team would have to be ready. And that's a great way on the road to get on top to start the second half, as Jenna Mendte, 23 games last year, back as a rookie in 2016, an all Big East freshman team pick. And she's in the top 10 in assists, but the goal scorer for today, Georgetown does not blow many leads, so one goal could simply do it with the way they defend each and every year. Reagan Smith, the fullback, moving forward. Normally that's Kristen Vinciguerra as Reagan Smith comes off the bench, but 33 in white getting the start today as Vinciguerra out with a red card, and a number of key players for Villanova like Chloe O'Neal, Brianna Austin, and the terrific goalkeeper Hensley Handcuff are out yet again, as Nova has not had some of their key players over the last 2 weeks, and they've still found ways to win, which is very impressive for Chris Mclean and his staff. And that's the depth that he's found. But he's told me in our chat this week a few tired legs because of all of the minutes the kids have had to play. And away for Lee. As we see Allie Breed moving the ball forward for Daniela Nelson. And eventually here for Megan Nally. 78th career game for Megan Nally. And the Hoyas are looking for more. Amanda Carolyn had 4 goals here at Villanova 2 years ago. I'm sure she's looking for an extra score, as it's Sarah Trissel with a great maneuver. But Rebecca Gartner is there to stop her. Rebecca Gartner winning her 17th career start today with all the schools she's been at. Her 5th start this season. Sarah Trissel, the right decision there to go for the header, as that's a tough ball with your boot, so a good idea, just didn't work out totally. And a lovely job to get it to Paula Dramino-Watnick, and good defending on the mark by Torie El Faro. Jenna Mendte, the 12th different Georgetown goal scorer this season. A foul called on the Hoyas as Villanova starts a free kick. Dave Nolan Two-time National Coach of the Year, up off of his seat to question the call. I'm sure he was interested in that one, as Kaylin Radisov is our official for today. Kristen Barber trying to find Sam Rosette up at the top of the formation for Villanova. Jane Olcott with an excellent maneuver just outside the area, trying to drop the ball off, and that's defended very well by Georgetown. And a good read of the ball on the counter with Paul Dramino-Watnick, and Rebecca Gartner comes out to claim a spot. Offsides the call. Kelly Ann Livingstone, a terrific play to start that counter. As you won't see Georgetown build a whole lot from the back. They'll boot the ball forward to find those speedy players. If anything, the wingbacks do the brunt of the work in this particular formation this season for Georgetown. But giving Georgetown a counterattack is scary if you're a team playing them. But when you're trailing, if you're in Villanova's shoes, you're going to have to push numbers forward a bit more. Chris Mclean likes his fullbacks getting forward in his 4-3-3 without Kristen Vinciguerra, who does most of the job there going forward. She's out on the red card, as we said today. He said, Nick, we might have to hold numbers back a bit, but now that they're trailing, they might have to push numbers forward, which could lead to the breakouts for Georgetown. Boo Jackson, the wingback, just wide of the goal, looking for a cross there. Fantastic player in Boo Jackson. 2 assists against Princeton. She has a point in 5 games. And as we said in the first half, winning the club national championship with the PDA powerhouse in New Jersey at the ECNL level back in 2016. Away by Rebecca Gartner, the Connecticut native who started at UCF. Didn't get any playing time for Tiffany Roberts and eventually transferred to Baylor. And now at Villanova for her 3rd school. Alison Brie, the crafty, diminutive winger for Villanova. Small in stature, but big in her gameplay. And a big equalizer in the tie at Princeton, as Villanova surrendered a penalty kick, as both teams here today took Princeton to extra time. Georgetown got the win. Villanova, a very good, solid comeback draw on the road against the Ivy League champions, who are more than that. They went to the quarterfinals 2 years ago, knocking off North Carolina. Princeton, always a good team. Kristen Barber, oh, that's knocked away by Anna Lee on the in-swinging ball. One of Villanova's best chances of the day, as Barber almost knocked it into the goal off the restart. Good clearance by Jenna Mendte on the wing. A good second half so far for her. Earlier in the week, the rain was in the forecasts, and last night it said a lower chance of rain. Today it said just cloudy, but the slight drizzle has been here all afternoon. It's the slightest of a downpour, so it hasn't really affected the gameplay per se. If anything, just a little bit wet and sloppy for the fans. Headed by Paula Dramino-Watnick, and Villanova trying from the byline area with Bryce McElroy, who's received a heavy mark today. Connor Huggins will exit, and Villanova will put Natalie Fouquet into the match. She's played fullback and midfield throughout her career for the senior from Orlando. Anna Leet, the New Zealand goalkeeper, tied for the Big East lead in shutouts with 3. Hensley Handcuff also has 3 shutouts as she continues to miss time with Villanova. Their star goalkeeper, Rebecca Gartner, has done very well, as Handcuff has missed time in each of her first 2 seasons. Rebecca Gartner with 6 starts last year, played very well against Virginia Tech a season ago with 6 saves And Gartner was excellent against Xavier in the win on Sunday against Xavier. And the Hoyas moving forward, looking on sides for Jenna Mendte again. Excellent ball from Carson Nizelek. Only 2 unbeatens left in women's collegiate soccer as BYU has a tough match against Santa Clara on Saturday. The Cougars are 10-0, and Virginia is number 1 in the men's and women's polls. The women's side, Virginia is 9-0-2 as they are coming off a tie against Duke. And of course, Georgetown had the tie against Duke as well. Georgetown beat the Blue Devils quite handily. A late surge last season in the NCAA tournament en route to the College Cup as Natalie Fouquet spins away from the pressure put on by Jenna Royson, number 3, who has been terrific today from the wing back spot. We can't state that role enough for Georgetown in this 3-5-2 look. Bryce McElroy, a terrific 1v1 type player. Excellent spacing there. Shea Safart with good movement. Alison Brie staying on sides for Villanova. Up against strong, tall defenders there like Kellyanne Livingstone at 5'10", and Alison Brie. And you can see the size differential. So it's about the speed and craftiness and technical ability for Villanova and the power tackling game of Georgetown when these defenders meet up with the Villanova frontline attackers. Very nice ball in for Bryce McElroy. And Ray Diamond catch there by Anna Leet. The best chance of the day. Villanova had one on the corner kick just moments ago. And Bryce McElroy looking good. A lovely ball from Reagan Smith on the wing. And Villanova with one of its best chances. You see Julia Lease, the youngster there to mark her. And we have lots of youngsters here today. Get your rosters out. Possibly a young broadcaster in the making there. Tough to keep your notes dry on a wet day like today. Natalie Fouquet serving a ball, aiming for Sam Rosette. The first half was a gridlock. The second half, we've seen more open play. So if anything, chances are starting to come, which would lead many to think that there might be more goals to come possibly in this matchup for today. Both teams finding themselves and definitely more rhythm within each offense. And the Hoyas are not one to sit numbers back, certainly, even in a 1-0 road game inside conference play. I'm sure Georgetown will still have players leaking forward. And with a 3-5-2 look, Villanova might not have to deal with an extra defender, but if the wingbacks don't push up as much as they do, there is a chance that it could be tougher for Villanova, even with numbers forward, if Georgetown does sit those wingbacks in a defensive posturing. Natalie Fouquet, excellent job by Jenna Royson. Another steady play as Jenna Mendte speeds with authority on the flank. And Villanova with a solid job to defend by Jane Olcott. And Torie El Faro, just a warrior for Villanova. Georgetown's defending and their physicality terrific once again for today. Looking for their 8th win of the season. 3 straight Big East tournament titles. They've been to 2 College Cups in the last 3 seasons. They just keep getting better and better each and every season. Last year, the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. And they were at home the whole tournament. And a turn by Amanda Carolyn. And a foul is called. If anything, even though it was a quote-unquote neutral game at Wake Med Park last year in the College Cup, remember Fetcher Field was closing for North Carolina soccer and lacrosse. Their new stadium had not yet opened. It opened up in the spring for lacrosse. It's finally open for soccer this fall at North Carolina. So last year, North Carolina was playing their games at Wakemed Park. So if anything, Georgetown playing the Tar Heels in that national semifinal, it was a bit of a home game for North Carolina because they had been playing there all season. If anything, the Hoyas defended North Carolina really well for 90 minutes plus. Not a ton of chances in that match for Georgetown, as Caitlin Farrell was a bit neutralized, but then again, the Hoyas were playing the cream of the crop. There's Mikayla Stadler, who re-enters. A very talented player for Villanova, and Chris Mclean, Allie Breed, and Sam Rosette will exit. And Shannon Casey re-enters the match, number 14 out of Michigan for Villanova. Great movement by Georgetown along the wing. Julia Lees trying to defend Bryce McElroy, and good support by Georgetown on the wing, as a chance there for Amanda Carolyn, and blocked by Villanova. Carson Nizelak doing a lot of work there on that one side to help defend, and here in the midfield, another strong specimen for Dave Nolan. All the little things that Jenna Royson and Sarah Trissel and Carson Nizelak do for this team, it leads to why Georgetown gets so many shutouts. Those strong midfielders and then the strong back line, plus all of the terrific goal scorers that they have year in and year out. A corner kick for the Hoyas. As it's served up, and Kellyanne Livingstone looking to head it. And the second opportunity for Julia Lees. And Villanova tackles. They had to be careful there with Daniela Nelson with a challenge, but they'll say a goal kick. Good opportunity there for Georgetown. And Amanda Carolyn will set it back here for Boo Jackson, the wingback. And now Paula Dramino-Watnick has a thunder strike off the boot there. So powerful, so crafty. A clean win by Kellyanne Livingstone, and another good opportunity for Paula Dramino-Watnick and the Hoyas. Sarah Trissel out of San Diego. A good job to find Jenna Mendte. Had the goal to start the second half and misses out on a double there. A good opportunity. Sarah Trissel, lovely 1-2 there. Great footballing. Paula Dramino-Watnick with great service as Jenna Mendte missed the target. Standout day for number 6. If it holds up, it could be her second career game winner. 26 minutes remaining. Nick Montagna here for the commentary at Higgins Soccer Complex. A good ball from Bryce McElroy to find Shannon Casey. Sarah Trissel had the initial stop. And another good win by the Hoyas, thanks to Carson Nizelak and Caitlin Farrell on the break. Torie El Faro there to defend her. It almost looked like the official was pointing to the spot. Has to be careful with the way he puts his arm there at the spot. And Villanova quickly gives it away. Tough to do as Georgetown already has the lead. As Boo Jackson able to take it away from Daniela Nelson. All in all, Villanova has played very good soccer today, but the moments in the final third have been thwarted by the terrific back line of Georgetown. If anything, the terrific chance by Bryce McElroy earlier in the half, that was one that probably had to be the difference maker for Villanova. You're not going to get a huge amount of chances against a team like Georgetown. So you have to hit on the few that you do have. And once again, fans, we talked about it in the first half. A great job that the Big East Conference has done to partner up with the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, with the Headstrong Foundation to raise funds and awareness for cancer. Of course, the Headstrong Foundation, founded by former Hofstra lacrosse student athlete Nick Colalori, a Philadelphia native. The Headstrong Foundation offers financial, residential, and emotional support to families affected by cancer. As Georgetown looking for Amanda Carolyn, but out of her reach. Nick Colalori, just so tragic, played at Hofstra in the mid-2000s, passed away in 2006, and his family has set up the Headstrong Foundation to help families in need of so many resources when they're dealing with their loved ones who are sick. So to support the Headstrong Foundation, head over to bigeast.com/headstrong to learn more today. A Villanova women's player named Kathleen O'Connor dealt with a form of cancer several years ago, and it turned out the number she ended up wearing, even when she started her career, was number 27. That's the number that Hofstra hands out each year to their player that embodies the spirit of Nick Colalori. And there's Georgetown's number 27, Kellyanne Livingstone, to clear the ball. A pretty good number choice for the Hoyas. And that might have been Julia Lease to clear the ball. And Natalie Fouquet, a senior for Villanova out of Orlando. And Tori Belcourt will re-enter for Villanova, number 2. Will replace Shannon Casey. Kristen Barber looking to get forward. Started the year as a striker. Now moved to a center half role. And Georgetown on the break once again with Paula Germino-Watnick and Amanda Carolyn. A beautiful ball to Jenna Mendte. Had Germino-Watnick on her left. And that, again, that's the scary part, giving Georgetown counter opportunities. When you have numbers back, Villanova has done a good job. But giving the Hoyas space, very tough to do. But I don't blame any team that trails against Georgetown. You have to send numbers forward. Chris Mclean likes to be aggressive. Dave Nolan doesn't like the call there on the foul, which will give the free kick. The clock stops, and we'll see the official going over to the technical area, as Dave Nolan will have a chat with the official for today, Kalen Radosav, as he doesn't like the call there. Had a good chat with Dave Nolan this week. He said the key last year, even though the goal scorers get all the attention, it was the chemistry from the seniors. Players like Leah McCullough and Ariel Scheckman and Alyssa Cronin and Jenna Stout. And to me, though, it was adding Kira Carusa, adding a championship-level player from Stanford in the grad transfer. Kira Carusa made Georgetown from a terrific team to a great team, and it proved to be true. Number 1 overall seed. They made the College Cup. Kira Carusa had 32 points last year. Had a good season. It was just an all-Big East second teamer. But she was drafted by the Sky Blue, and so many of the Hoyas are playing professionally. Emily Menges playing for Portland Thorns. I see her play week in and week out for that great fan base. The Corbeau sisters playing for FC Fleury 91 in France. Chloe Knott playing in the UK for the Durham ladies. Liz Wenger plays in Switzerland. Her bro Andrew used to play for Philadelphia Union. Crystal Thomas playing in Iceland. And Kira Carusa playing in League 2 for Le Havre in France. Jenna Mendte has the goal today. And Rebecca Gartner will gather on the Big East Weekly Honor Roll thanks to her shutout against Xavier. DePaul and Butler underway as well, as DePaul looking for a victory after losing to Creighton. And right now in the 69th minute, DePaul leads Butler by a 2-1 score. So the Bulldogs, very tough team to beat year in and year out in the Big East. After Georgetown, it's been Butler as the next best team. And if anything, Butler has been just as good. One close game after another against Georgetown, but the Hoyas always find a way to beat everybody, frankly. As Georgetown beat Butler in the last two Big East title games. Off the restart for Villanova, Mikayla Stadler looking for an opportunity off the Kristen Barber free kick. Lots of numbers forward, and Natalie Fouquet fouling Paula Germino-Watnick as she goes down to the ground. As the official goes to check on her, interested to see if he would stop the clock. As Paula Germino-Watnick gets up, you get a second look at it there. A foul will be called. I think the right call by the official. Seemed to be a physical challenge. And I think the right call. Standard foul. Jenna Mendte has the only goal today, right at the start of the second half. A great job for Georgetown to build up in the right-hand side of the box, and a slip through for Jenna Mendte. Had an open look at the goal, and that is our only score of the day. The corner kick from Boo Jackson in here for Kellyanne Livingstone, but she's called for the foul. A push off there in the box for Livingstone against Bryce McEnroy. Set pieces and corner kicks, quite the norm. 50-50 encounter. Now Anna Lead off of her line with Mikayla Stadler pressuring. And now Reagan Smith will collect the ball. Megan Nolly back to defend with Livingstone. And Shea Safard pushing forward from her holding spot. Chris Mclean has told me Shea Safard is versatile, so she has the opportunity to play up high like she did in her youth days. And Villanova will send out Reagan Smith, Natalie Fouquet, Mikayla Stadler, and Torie Bellecourt. And some of the big guns return with Sam Rosette and Alison Brie. Danielle Nelson will come back on. Mikayla Stadler remains in the match for Villanova. Off the throw-in. It will stay in the final third for Villanova. Eye-popping fixture there in Chicago for Butler and DePaul, as the Blue Demons having trouble getting the victories, but they have played very well this season. A lot of tough setbacks when they've outchanced their opponent. And if anything, that would be a terrific victory for DePaul. They've had to replace a lot of superstars in recent years, while Butler has the big names with Anya Savage and Katie Soderstrom. Kristen Barber with a good win. Alison Brie and Jane Olcott, two technical players. A good drop off for Shea Safard. Villanova's shape and style working very well in the second half. They played good soccer, but the final moments, the finishing, without players like Chloe O'Neal and Brianna Austin, it's been quite tough, which means a lot for Bryce McEnroy and Sam Rosette. Here's our only goal early in the first half. Great job from Amanda Carolyn on the back tip there for Jenna Mendte. All started by the run by Jenna Royson. The wing backs for Georgetown, the most underrated part of their system from the casual eye. But most coaches know in this formation, those are the players that do the work. And Jenna Royson, when talking with Chris Mclean, he said she might be the best player on the pitch day in and day out for Georgetown. And she showed it there, that she essentially created that goal. If anything, you figure a double assist, and that's what it is. One for Royson and the assist for Amanda Carolyn. So Amanda Carolyn with her 13th career assist, which gives her 73 career points. That's 7th best in school history. And we're talking about the greats up there with the Corbeau sisters, Caitlin Farrell, Ingrid Wells. Tremendous players that Dave Nolan has had through the years. Kristen Barber defending well. She's a part of a senior class that has never beat Georgetown, and it's been longer than that, frankly. One last opportunity, unless these teams would meet up in the Big East tournament, as Villanova has not been to the playoffs in some time. It's been a struggle for Villanova this decade. Their last Big East tournament was 2014. Their last winning season was 2009. That was their last NCAA tournament. They are definitely on the right track. When they get all their key players back, like Chloe O'Neal, Nikki Molina, Hensley Handcuff, it should be a good second half of the season for Villanova. The depth will be much better. They'll be able to sub more. I think they'll be a little bit more fresh come the second half of the season, whereas last year, that's when Villanova faded a bit, losing their final 5. While Georgetown did not lose a match in Big East play last season. And their unbeaten streak against the Big East continues. If they win again today, it would be a 14-match regular season unbeaten streak against the conference for Georgetown. They're 11-0-2 since 2017 in the regular season against the Big East. And frankly, what they've done in the postseason, they don't lose to anybody in the Big East. Their last loss was at Providence in 2017. Their last home loss against the Big East was against DePaul in 2016. And it's almost 2020, and Georgetown still dominating. If anything, Villanova giving them a tough test. Sierra Tarabasso enters for Villanova. Georgetown leans on their starting 11 quite a bit. Their regulars play a ton of minutes. Dave Nolan will go to his bench. We've seen players like Caitlin Moon, Jenna Mendte getting the start. They're already down Charlie Kern today, and Grace Nguyen has been out the entire season. Villanova has a little bit more depth, but of course without so many key players, both teams really relying on a core number of players at the moment where we are at this point in the season to play a lot of the minutes for their respective clubs. If anything, like I said, I think it will get better for Villanova in the upcoming weeks as Chris Mclean anticipates the return of several key players. There's no timeline officially, he said, when Brianna Austin comes back or Hensley Handcuff, but he's hoping to get them back soon. Especially Chloe O'Neal, their dangerous winger, who has been as good as any player Villanova has had. And no Kristen Vinciguerra today, out on a red card. Their craftiest fullback, who leads their attack from the fullback spot. 12 minutes from time. Nick Montagna here from the broadcast section of Higgins Soccer Complex. Thanks for joining us today on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi, our great crew in the truck, and our great team on hand here today in the Philadelphia area as Georgetown and Villanova meeting up yet again. 12 wins for Villanova, 10 wins for Georgetown, but the Hoyas have won 9 out of the last 11. A tie in 2014, 1-1. The only victory for Villanova in recent memory was right here at their home field in 2012, a 1-0 final. Emily Damstrom had the game winner. Handed the Hoyas just their second loss of the year that season. And a foul is called on Georgetown. Hey, Connor Huggins doing lots of work from her left back spot. And Megan Nally boots it away. Right into the noggin of Torie El Faro. Another tough play. And a physical move inside the area as the official called penalty. And I believe he has pointed to the spot. A powerful move there as Torie El Faro meets up there with Julia Lees, two very strong players Well, I'm not sure about that, the way that was called. Very interesting decision by Kalen Radosov as Georgetown will go to the spot for the first time this season. They were 3 for 5 a season ago as a big opportunity for Paula Germino-Watnick. And a 2-goal margin for Georgetown. Extreme quality from 12 yards for Germino-Watnick. A gem of a restart goal. Her 5th marker of the season, and the Hoyas are off and running as usual. If anything, the craftiest player in the Big East, no problem there. Pinpoint precision for Germino-Watnick. 17th career goal. An all Big East first teamer a season ago. In the top 5 in the conference in points. And a tremendous player. Made it look easy. Last year, Niselek was 2 for 2 from the spot. Interesting block charge basketball call there with Torie El Faro meeting up there with Julia Lease. 2 really strong physical players colliding there. Also be some bumps and bruises on each side. You could argue that one player might have taken down the other. That's really a 50-50 coin flip type of call, and that's why I say I'm not sure about the call. That really could have gone either way. It was hard to say that Alfaro really took her down, although she had contact against Lease. Was it an obvious goal-scoring opportunity? There was contact in the box, so technically you could say penalty. Very interesting decision. That was not easy for the referee. That's a tough job to have to make those calls for the official. I'm not sure what I really would have called there. That's really hard to determine. If anything, the good thing is that since 2017, when the quote-unquote new penalty kick rules were applied in college soccer, it was PKs going crazy in that first month 2 years ago, and I think the waters have settled down. We have not seen as many penalties since then. And a good example is Georgetown. That was their first this season. The Hoyas looking like they'll have their 6th straight win, and their dominance against the Big East and their exclusive mark against the Villanova Wildcats will stay intact. At the top of the broadcast, we talked about the old days when it was Notre Dame, Villanova, West Virginia, arguably were the most notables, and Villanova was as good as any program in the Big East. Georgetown was an afterthought, and then Dave Nolan arrived, but when he took over as the head coach, that's when things really started to change. Before you knew it, a dominant program, thanks to Ingrid Wells, his first key recruit. Jay Safart, Danielle Nelson will exit. And we'll see Sarah Beidelman into the match for Villanova, her first game as a Wildcat. Number 23 out of Collingswood, New Jersey, enters the match for Villanova. And we'll see Claire Fell, the veteran, the defender out of Prospect, Kentucky, will come on as a defender for Villanova in the closing moments. Claire Fell has been a big-time player for Villanova through the years. 42 career games, but lots of center halves for Chris Mclean. One of his youngsters, we didn't even mention her, Alexa Wojnowicz, who's played a lot of minutes. She's out today as well for Villanova. Nicely done. Georgetown thinks corner. Villanova says otherwise. They will say goal kick. There's Dave Nolan as the Hoyas will head to Providence. Remember, that was the last time they lost a Big East match, was at Providence 2 years ago. So if anything, will that streak come to an end again? If anything, Sam Lope's team is very physical. They tackle as well as anybody in the Big East. And not easy to score on Shelby Hogan, who has the #1 goals against in the Big East. Arguably the best keeper in the conference. My vote goes to Maddie Henry at Marquette. I think she's the most nimble and quick athletic goalkeeper. I've been very impressed by Anna Lee, Rebecca Gartner, and Hensley Handcuff. Here's Sam Rosette as the ball's blocked, and a clean carom right to the New Zealand keeper. The two keepers at Creighton doing very well. Got a good chance over the weekend to see Stephanie Rodriguez and Harpa Johansdotter, the Iceland goalie for Seton Hall, a very quick athletic keeper for Coach Kira Krinian. The level of keepers in this conference is terrific. The closing 6 minutes here at Higgins Soccer Complex as Georgetown will have a battle on their hand against Providence over the weekend, while Villanova will head to Butler. Doesn't get any easier for Villanova as Shannon Casey will replace Alison Brie. Villanova's last Big East winning season was 2012, the last time they beat Georgetown, a 5-4-1 total, as the Wildcats could fall to 1-1, but if anything, that big win over Xavier Sunday means a lot for Villanova. The last 2-0 Big East start for Villanova was 2006, which was arguably their best. 16 wins, went to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Had wins to start that campaign against Seton Hall and Georgetown. But once 2008 hit, that's when Georgetown really got going. They thumped Villanova to start the year, and people's heads were turning, as nobody had seen that before. And players like Camille Trujillo and Ingrid Wells were the reason why, right around the start and turn of the decade. And then the Corbeau sisters. Daphne was a delight, and Rachel was fantastic. College Cup in 2016 for Georgetown. That was at the Quake Stadium, and will be at Avaya Stadium again this year. Will Georgetown return there? That is the question. You see Villanova will head to Butler on Sunday. Butler doesn't lose many at the Selleck Bowl, and Elite crashing in to make the catch as Villanova moving forward. As Claire fell, the defender was up ahead. The shutout streak and counting, over 300 plus minutes off the restart there from Kristen Barber. Ball bounced around for Mikayla Stadler, and Claire fell. But you have a world-class goalkeeper in Anna Leet going forward. Played with the U17 World Cup last year and the U20 World Cup. Tremendous to get the bronze medal at the U17s in Uruguay last year for Anna Leet. Turned down the Women's World Cup. Not easy to say no to Tom Sermani. That's the same coach that Hensley Handcuff, the Villanova goalkeeper, worked with her club team, Orlando Pride. Frustrating day there for the Villanova staff. At Georgetown, just continuing their dominance. 9 straight years with an All-American. A win today would make it 64 wins and just 12 losses against the Big East this decade. 8 NCAA tournaments this decade, 3 quarterfinals, 12 straight seasons with 10 or more wins. Mikayla Stadler cannot catch up to it for Villanova. "21 wins last year for Georgetown, a school record. Won 14 in a row into the College Cup. The key for them is getting those home games at Shaw Field. They are just impenetrable at their soccer palace. One of just 2 Big East teams to have grass, as so many schools have made the switch to turf, like Villanova. For some schools, it's smarter to have grass. For some schools, it's smarter based on location to have turf. Depending on the usage and the number of sports, whether it be a football or a lacrosse that also play on your field. Butler plays in a football stadium, for example, is a good example. the official will run over to the Villanova technical area, and a yellow card will be given to Chris Mclean. He is not happy about some of the calls, it would think. I'm sure the penalty kick upset him. And into the book for Chris Mclean, the third-year manager for Villanova. Has done a great job. 11 years at Colgate, where he was the assistant. 8 Patriot League titles. Ohio State was floundering when he got there. The Buckeyes were recruiting talent, but they were not getting any results whatsoever. Coach Mclean installed his system. It was easy, because he said, because the players were there. He simply put in his possession system, and they had 2 NCAA tournaments in his 2 years there. And Chris Mclean tells me he has great recruits coming, and he said a number of them are making their official visit to this match today. 90 seconds left in the match. Fans, stay with us for our post-game interviews as Dave Nolan will join us after the match, and possibly one of the Georgetown players will talk to us. Sierra Tarabasso cleared away by Georgetown. That's one to watch on Sunday for the Friars and Hoyas. Very exciting fixture. Kristen Barber, and the final minute of the 90. A rainy day here at Higgins Soccer Complex, but all smiles for the Georgetown fans. They've proven to be the standard in the Big East and the best amongst the powers of the women's college landscape. Not easy for Villanova. They're hosting their second College Cup in just the last 3 weeks, as Florida State, the national champion, was here several weeks ago. A 5-0 loss for Villanova. Dave Nolan will join us when we come back from our break, as the skipper has just done so well for so many seasons. The standard of the Big East grows and grows for Georgetown. That's 6 straight wins. That's 4 straight shutouts. The dominance for Georgetown continues against Villanova. The quality of Georgetown continues against the Big East. The Hoyas once again reach victory. The 2-0 is the final score here at Higgins Soccer Complex. 2 second-half goals for the Hoyas, as Jenna Mendte gets her second career game winner, and then the penalty kick for Paula Termino-Watnick. Another win for Georgetown in the Big East. Dave Nolan to join us when we come back here from Villanova.
What is a Villanovan in 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
And welcome back to Higgins Soccer Complex, a 2-0 win for Georgetown over Villanova. Nick Montaigne here with head coach Dave Nolan. Coach, congrats on the victory. What did it take to get going in that second half?
It was just a tough game. This is always a tough place for us to come play. The artificial turf is something that it's hard to play on the best of times, and then playing on it when it's wet makes it, a little bit, slick, and the ball travels a little bit quick, and it asks a lot of players technically to deal with the conditions. But I thought overall we were well worth the win. We probably could have had maybe one more. But when it's 1-0 and maybe 2-0, stuff can happen. And I thought our kids did a good job of seeing out the game. We defended pretty well. Didn't give them too many looks. Kept their top player, McEnroy, quiet. And I felt we were worth the win.
Coach, we talked about the wing backs in the 3-5-2. I was so impressed with Jenna Royson and Boot Jackson up and down the flanks, and Jenna Royson helped create that first goal. How vital was that goal and the way she created that play?
I mean, that's what Jenna does. And the funny thing is she's not at 100%. And, we were trying to get her just to pick our moments, when to go and when to try and make something happen. And that was one opportunity where, straight in the second half, she took a chance to go, and she made a great ball across. Amanda made a great run to the near post and played a lovely little flick back, and Jenna Mendte finished it. So it was a quality goal. But both of those guys, we asked them to play a lot of minutes, and they do a great job, because it's wing backs in a 3-5-2 is the toughest position, because you probably do more running than the other three defenders combined. So I got to give those kids a lot of credit.
Lots of water in the recovery, certainly, for those players. Just knowing that you are able to beat one Big East team after another, the dominance continues. Talk to everybody about how you're able to get it done year after year.
Well, a couple of things. It really boils down to the quality recruiting, or recruiting quality kids. And I'm very fortunate in that Georgetown's an institution that attracts a lot of attention from good students and good athletes, and certainly good soccer players. And then for me, I just got to kind of weed out who's the type of kid that will come in and work hard for the program and leave any personal desires behind in favor of the benefit of the team. And I'm lucky. I've got a great bunch of kids that work really hard every day, put their best foot forward every day. And as long as we get that, I'm always happy.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Nick.
And that'll wrap things up today here from Villanova. Another day and another win for Georgetown in Big East play. A tremendous goal to start the second half for Jenna Mendte. Excellent work by Jenna Royson. And then the penalty kick by Paula Germino-Watnick, as Georgetown beats Villanova by a 2-0 final. I'm Nick Montaigne saying so long here on the Big East Digital Network. Have a great day, everyone. See you next time.